Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Oklahoma News Report. I'm Rich Lenz. Saying it was no longer, quote, in the best interest of Oklahoma taxpayers. This week, the state Tourism and Recreation Department terminated its lease agreement with Swadley's Foggy Bottom Kitchens to operate restaurants in some of its state parks. But that is far from the end of the story. Jason Doyle joins us now with more on a controversial agreement that is currently under criminal investigation. Jason?
Yeah, that's right, Rich. The OSBI and a special investigative committee in the House are taking a look at the contract between Swadley's and the state tourism department. The ordeal has some at the Capitol wondering, where's the accountability?
Just a day after the State Department of Tourism and Recreation announced it was terminating its contract with Swadley's, the Foggy Bottom restaurant sign was covered up at Roman Nose State Park. Less than a month earlier, Department of Tourism Executive Director Jerry Winchester was defending the work Swadley's had performed on the state park restaurants.
Well, I really don't know where to start, in that if you use this methodology, we'd be better off if we didn't fix anything.
That was during last month's Legislative Office of Financial Transparency, or LOFT, Oversight Committee's hearing on the Swadley's contract. The state paid Swadley's $17 million to bring the restaurants up to code and operate them under the brand Foggy Bottom Kitchen.
We're going to send our guests at a lodge 10 miles down the road to eat a roller dog at the gas station. That's, I don't think, is Mr. Chairman, what our guests were coming there for.
When the termination was announced Monday, the Tourism Department stated in part, in early fall 2021, the department initiated an internal investigation after reports of financial irregularities were brought to our attention. Financial payments for construction costs were immediately halted in September, while management fees were suspended in December. After extensive review, it has become clear the continuation of the agreement with Foggy Bottom Kitchen is not in the best interest of Oklahoma taxpayers. Swadley's fired back with a statement of their own. From the beginning, every aspect of the Foggy Bottom Kitchen project has been directed and approved by state officials. We stand by our team and all that we have done to benefit the people of our beautiful state. LOFT Executive Director Mike Jackson says his agency's report on the state park system indicates there was an issue with record keeping.
What we observed was not a lot of documentation, not a lot of oversight on the contract itself. We saw where some expenses tended to be a little bit higher than what we could find even with a simple Google search.
Fees being charged back to the state also kept increasing.
The change that happened almost with every invoice. So it would go from 5% to 25% to 30% to 35%, and that seemed to change with every invoice with no rhyme or reason.
He adds the contract between the Tourism Department and Swadley's was not the normal type of contract a state agency issues.
It doesn't follow the standards that Oklahoma has in place. We actually have contracting standards.
Now, lawmakers want to look even deeper. House Republicans announced Thursday they're forming a bipartisan special investigation committee.
The Speaker on the House very much realized that it is our job to track down every single taxpayer dollar and find out exactly what happened and make sure it never happens again. So that will be the goal of this committee.
Representative Ryan Martinez will chair the committee.
I will tell you those will be public, except for a few caveats. I've had quite a few whistleblowers reach out to me, and when they're requesting protection, they will be granted that protection.
My first thought was, okay, who has the authority here? LOFT pointed very clearly that the authority is not in the board anymore. The authority really falls in the director who's named by the governor.
Senator Julia Kurt sits on the Oversight Committee for LOFT. The sudden cancellation of the Swadley's contract has raised another concern for Kurt.
I hope there's a reason that it happened overnight, but I'm really worried about what's going to happen over the next 6 months for those communities.
Republicans and Democrats have criticized the contract with Swadley's. However, it's House Democrats that are saying that contract is actually part of a pattern they've seen since Stitt took office.
Just look at Canoe. They received $300 million of your money. Arkansas gave them $100 million. Somebody tell me where their headquarters is going to be. It's not Oklahoma. They pushed back production in Oklahoma by a year. They're going to start production in Arkansas. Good job, Governor Stitt. You're quite the negotiator. You paid 3 times what Arkansas did, and you don't have the first line of production, nor do you have their headquarters.
Walke believes Winchester should not continue as the executive director for tourism.
Oh, look, The administration's going out and terminating the contract with Swadley's. Great. Explain to me why Executive Director Jerry Winchester's still sitting there.
I'll be honest, I said it the other day, I'm pretty surprised by that. That's not necessarily within my purview of to hire and fire that person. That is up to the executive branch. It's concerning to me because I think that there are a lot of things that seem very questionable and a lot of questions need to be asked and answered.
Lawmakers could consider limiting the governor's power over state agencies due to accountability issues if the investigation leads the committee to that conclusion.
I think all structure is going to be looked at. Accountability structures, if there's a structural problem, if there's a personnel problem, you name it, we're going to look at all of it. And if there truly is a structural problem, that's something that we're committed to fixing.
Governor Stitt issued a statement after the House announced the special committee and its mission, saying, "I have called for more audits than any other governor in state history and welcome the legislature joining me to protect the taxpayers and shine a light on any kind of corruption or bad actors involved in state government. The state does business with more than 4,600 companies, and I welcome a review of each one to provide maximum transparency for Oklahomans."
Well, there was a lot of attention paid to the tourism Swadley contract. That wasn't the only controversial issue at the Capitol this week. On Thursday, House Republicans suspended rules to prevent debate on Senate Bill 1503, which is the Texas-style abortion ban allowing a person to sue someone who facilitates an abortion. That measure is headed back to the Senate for final consideration. Rich?